Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Island Girl Foods TV. Today, we are going to be making the national dessert of the Bahamas, delicious Guava Duff. What is Guava Duff, you may ask? Well, it's delicious guavas nestled in a roulade and steamed and then topped with the most luscious creamy rum sauce. Now, guavas come in a variety of colors. We have the pink, the red, and the white flesh guavas. In this recipe, we only use pink and red because they're the most flavorful. I recently found out that our friends in Newfoundland has a similar dish to this called blueberry duff. And sometimes it's dessert or sometimes it can be savory, and it's also steamed in a cotton bag. Now, a cotton bag or a pillowcase is my grandmother's way, the old-fashioned way. But today, I'm making it a little more modernized by steaming it in aluminum foil paper. So guys, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you are alerted every week as I upload new videos. And if you're going, let's go. So with making your Guava Duff dough and all of my ingredients in its place, this recipe is very easy to remember because all you want to think about, as my Aunt Esther used to say, is 3 of everything. So we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have 3 tablespoons of baking powder that's going in. I have 3 tablespoons of butter, and I have basically a half a teaspoon of salt. That's the only exception. And she also adds 3 tablespoons of sugar. And now I'm just going to work in my butter. You may use a handheld blender to cut in the butter, but I just go ahead and work it in with my fingers because this is room temperature butter. And this is how easy, folks, it is to make the dough. Once my butter is all cut in, I just go ahead and add some room temperature water as I mix with my hand. And I just want the dough to be wet enough to form into a ball. It should be a soft, pliable dough. So now that my dough comes together into a ball, I'm simply going to take my extra flour here and dust. Add my ball of dough, and I begin my kneading process. Now, after I knead it about 10 times, I'm going to separate the dough into half because I'm going to make 2 logs of my Guava Duff roulade. And one is going to be for my nephew Johnny because I've been promising him to make his favorite Guava Duff since he's been here going to school in Canada. So it's going to be a nice surprise for him today. And the next will be for my family. So now that my dough is ready, let's talk about pink and red guavas. So I have about 2 cups of guava shells that I've mashed together, and this is how the shell looks. You can either slice it or you can mash it as the filling for the dough, and this is what's going to make a wonderful roulade. So first things first, we're going to use a rolling pin and roll out our dough, and I'm going to roll this out into the shape of a rectangle. Important to dust as you roll out the dough so it doesn't stick to your countertop. So here we have my first dough rolled out, and now I'm going to take some of my filling, my guava, my mashed and diced guavas. I want to leave enough for my second dough, and I'm just going to spread. Okay, so you want to leave at least an inch border all around, because now we are going to just simply roll our filling up. And I'm going to bring my filling back here, and basically you're just going to pinch the ends on both sides. And I'm gonna tuck this up and seal by just pinching again. You can just damp your fingers in a little water if you prefer. But this dough is fine and it's ready to go. Now I call this my petite Guava Duff. The presentation is so much better and it's nicer serving slices. But when my grandmother did it, she just made a huge log or roulade and added in a big, huge rondeau on a pot and steam it. So this is my first one. I'll set this aside. And now I'm going to roll out my second dough. So here we have a sheet of heavy-duty aluminum foil that's cut big enough to wrap one of the roulades. I'm going to position it horizontally, and you just want to cover loosely, guys, because this dough is going to expand as it steams. So you do not want to tightly cover it. You want a loose cover, but you want it to seal so no water gets inside of the foil as the dough is steaming. So you're just gonna go ahead and roll up, and then you're going to do the same thing with the edges of the foil by folding it upwards. This way it prevents water from getting into the aluminum paper and possibly giving you a soggy dough. So here's my first guava roulade all ready. Okay, so guys, here's how we set it up. We have a oval roaster, just large enough to fit our roulades, and we pour enough water that is just under a solid plate. You rest it in the center, and this is simply to elevate our roulades so that while it's steaming, the water doesn't get inside. So I have one, and I have two that fits my oval roaster perfectly. So now I have my burner turned on high because I need to bring this up to a boil, and once it's up to a boil, I'm immediately going to lower it so it simmers and it steams. How long should this steam for? Remember, the recipe is 3 cups of flour. Each cup is 30 minutes. So I'll be steaming this roulade for 1.5 hours. Cover, and then I'm going to transfer on the top of my burner. So now that it's up to a boil, it's starting to steam, I'm simply turning it to simmer and then just cover with the lid and set my timer to 1.5 hours. These bad boys should be ready. Be sure to check on your roulades every 20 minutes to a half an hour to replenish water if need be. Do not allow the water to completely evaporate. So to make the guava rum sauce, here I have about a cup of guava paste, and it comes in a block like this, folks, and you will just add a little water to it, put it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes or so, and you get this wonderful, flavorful paste. So my guava paste is going into the bowl of my processor, or you may use a blender. And then we have the cream or milk of the islands, evaporated milk. 1 can is going in. We have 1 can of condensed milk. Now the guava paste is sweet and the condensed milk is also sweet. And I know a lot of my fellow Bahamians like it really sweet and they still add a little sugar. But in my recipe, I have a tablespoon of sugar. You could omit it, taste it at the end and see if it's sweet enough. And we cannot forget, it won't be a rum sauce without our rum. And this is about 2 ounces of delicious spice rum. And I have about a tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. We have 35% cream. This is about 1/2 cup. It gives it a little more thickness to it. Of course, my Aunt Esther's way and my grandmother's way is to use butter, but instead of butter, I like using 35% heavy cream. And then we're going in with a few pinches of nutmeg. And as I mentioned, if you wanted to add your granulated sugar, only a tablespoon will do. How easy is that? We cover and blend everything. Okay, folks, and here's what we have. This amazing, luscious, I wish you can smell this. The fragrant guavas with the wonderful earthy nutmeg, and also you get a hint of that spice rum. Okay, so I'm so excited. My guava roulade is completely ready. So I'm just gonna unwrap the prize. There we go. So you're going to see a little bit condensation because of the steam, but this is perfect. I couldn't be happier with the results. So I'm just going to remove it. I let it rest for about 5 minutes. Okay, so now it's time to slice this beauty on a diagonal. So I'm just gonna slice like this, and I want about 1-inch pieces. Now let me show you what a beautiful Guava Duff roulade looks like. Oh, look at that. Swirls of delicious, delectable guavas. You can eat this by itself. But why do that when we have this sensational rum sauce? So this is how I'm plating it together. I'm just going to take a part of this. And this is how you want to present it when you have guests over. Make sure those beautiful swirls are seen. All in that delicious, creamy rum sauce. Go over it with some more of that fabulous rum sauce. Make it nice and luscious. Mmm. Oh my goodness. I can hardly wait. And then I'm going over with some delicious swirls of whipped cream. I have some more delicious guava that I've diced up. And then to wrap it up, I'm just gonna put a little garnish of mint leaves perhaps to the side. There you go. Tell me that don't look like the boom boom rum. Yeah. Guys, this is an impressive dessert. This is what we call the piece de resistance of any buffet. So try my recipe. You won't be disappointed. And as always, when it comes to Caribbean cuisine, nobody does it better than your island girl. See you next time.